Thailand is sort of becoming the Panama of Southeast Asia with lots of different ways to get residence. Today I'm going to tell you about the historical ways to get a residence permit and live in tax-friendly Thailand, as well as a number of new ways that they're rolling out. Thailand has long been popular for expats because it offers a great lifestyle, it has great weather, it is a round of other great places in Asia to go to. For example, you can keep your money in Singapore and it's just a flight away. Meanwhile, you live in lower cost Thailand with just lots of opportunities. And what we often talk about is that Thailand can be a very tax-friendly place to live. Now, Thailand is rolling out new residence permit options, including a taxable residence permit option, which I would naturally suggest you avoid. Let's run through those options right now. If it's your first time here, I'm Andrew Henderson, founder of Nomad Capitalist. We're a boutique consulting firm that helps 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally go where you're treated best. That could mean moving from your country to Thailand and doing all the tax planning that comes with it. We help people get second citizenship. We help people protect their freedom, diversify and protect their assets, reduce their taxes. You can learn more at nomadcapitalist.com. So the options that have been available to people in Thailand are the Thai Elite visa, where basically you're paying a fee to get access to the country for 5, 10, or 20 years. And depending on which option you get certain perks and privileges that could involve health checkups, golf privileges, priority immigration line, taxis to and from the airport. And so that should be considered as you're paying money, just basically a flat fee to live there. It does not necessarily mean that you're a taxpayer. Certainly if you do something that runs afoul of their territorial tax system, you could be liable for tax if you live there long enough. But generally speaking, you can pair a very friendly tax regime in Thailand with the Thai Elite visa. You can also use it to get tax residence if you live there long enough. But you are paying a flat fee. And so for a single person who wants to live there for 5 or 10 years, you're going to pay $15,000 and up. And so that may be relatively affordable. You may get some time-saving benefits. You may get a few perks that you would have paid money for. And so, maybe you're out of pocket 12 grand because you got 3 grand in benefits and you saved yourself some time. That's certainly worth it. When you get into, if you've got a family of 4 or more and you want to be there long term, or it's just a backup option, you just want to keep something in your back pocket but not actually be there very long, then it becomes less appealing because the opportunity cost is too high. Right? And so the Thai Elite visa is for someone who wants to live there. I don't think you really want to pay a fee just to not use it because you can go to Thailand for 30 days if you have a Western passport. If there's a number of countries that have now a visa on arrival regime, and you could just go to the embassy and get a tourist visa and spend 60 days there, and it's not that difficult. And so unless you're going to spend more than 60 days, I don't really recommend this option. If you've got a large family, I would suggest the next option, which is the investment residence. And so it's often confused as a permanent residence. It's not really such a thing, but you can renew it indefinitely. And so today's lower exchange rate, as the Thai baht with most Asian currencies is down, you're looking at about $282,000. You can invest that in new property that you're going to buy. Thailand's property prices have certainly gone up. They are a little bit heated, I think, in some areas, especially compared to, let's say, Malaysia. You're going to get less for your money, especially if you're buying a new build. But you can buy property, you can put the money in the bank, or you can put the money in bonds. And so if you're already looking at moving your money outside of your home country to diversify it, putting $282,000 in a Thai bank, it's not going to pay you huge interest rates, but it is going to give you diversification in a country that many folks in China, for example, look at as the second-tier Singapore, the second-tier safe haven in Asia. You've got gold vaults in the country, you've got stuff like that. And so it is not the worst place to park some cash if you work with some of the larger banks. $282,000. You need to be there 1 day per year to renew it. And so not a bad option where you're not paying anything, but you are getting access to be there whenever you want. That's more of a back pocket option. And so that's one that we have advised folks on over the years. But now Thailand is coming up with a number of new things. They're formulating different ways for digital nomads to move into the country, and I want to walk you through some of that. So the first thing is a long-term resident visa that grants a 10-year residence permit, and they plan to attract 1 million people over the next 5 years. That's a very, very ambitious goal. A lot of expats live in Thailand, more than pretty much anywhere else in Southeast Asia, with the exclusion of Singapore. You have international cuisine. You have international restaurants. They even have a Taco Bell in Bangkok now, so you'll feel like you're at home if you're from the United States. But 1 million is no doubt an ambitious target. Basically, this is the latest visa aimed at attracting global talent following the Smart Visa and the Visa Work Permit Facilitation programs. Those have brought in about 50,000 people total. So 1 million is super aggressive. This is being rolled out by the Board of Investment, the BOI, which has long been involved in bringing people into the country. And so what the qualifications are going to be are the following. Number one, you can be a wealthy individual. This is group one. What do you need for this? Own assets worth at least $1 million. Have a personal income of at least $80,000 a year. They'll generally want to see a bank statement. They'll want to see pay stubs, something like that. And then invest $500,000 in Thai government bonds, real estate, or other forms of direct investment in the country. So as long as the investment option sticks around, this is really not going to be really that much more appealing, other than you're just getting longer term right out of the gate. So if you just never want to go to Thailand, this could potentially be a time saver in terms of that. But you've got to show that you've got money, which you don't for the investor visa. You need to show the income, so it's incorporating elements of Malaysia's My Second Home program, minus the need to actually stay there, which Malaysia's My Second Home program recently rolled out with their 90-day minimum stay. So if you just never want to go to the place, and you don't mind investing more in the country in bonds, real estate, or other forms of direct investment, then this option could work for you. So that's more of a back pocket option as well. Group two is the wealthy pensioner. You need to be over 50 years old, so Thailand has long had different ways for retired people to come to the country, and either have a personal income of at least $80,000 a year, so that could be from active or passive sources, or if it's under $80,000 but above $40,000, then you have to put $250,000 into Thai government bonds, real estate, or other approved asset classes. What have I always told you about Asia? Asia is focused on wealth. Both you're having it and often you're investing it in their country. Now, they often allow some pretty straightforward, passive, don't need to worry about it ways of bringing that wealth in. Again, whether it's Malaysia, whether it's Thailand, it's often, hey, put some money in the bank. So if you already have money in the bank, if you have some liquidity, that's not the end of the world. If you like investing in bonds, right, maybe there's more of a case to be made for bonds now, then you can do that as well. If you wanted to buy a property and you're willing to overpay a little bit potentially, or buy something that may not be your first choice property because there are certain restrictions, then okay, you can do that, right? I happen to think get residence for residence sake, and so for me, having liquidity, the bank option makes sense. But Asia, no doubt, wants you to have money. So they're saying if you have $80,000 a year and you're a wealthy pensioner, cool, come on in. But if you don't, you better have at least half that, and you need to invest some money. So you need to have a net worth. This contrasts to a lot of countries in Latin America where they just want to see the income. They just want to see monthly income, $1,500, $2,000, $1,200, $3,000, whatever the case may be. Oh, you got a spouse, add $500. So that's a lot more straightforward. You can see how Asia, it's a reflection of almost the Asian culture. They think in years rather than months. Things are much more long-term focused in many ways. So they're looking at long-term income on a yearly basis, and they're looking at investments if you don't have it. There's a third group for remote workers. They want you to have $80,000 of income per year in the last 2 years. They also want 5 years of experience in your current field of employment over the last 10 years. And also they want for you to either work for a private company with $150 million in revenues over the past 3 years, or for a publicly traded company. So, for example, if you work for Airbnb, they opened up, you can live anywhere in the world that you want. This is going to be the opportunity to live there. If you make less than 80 grand, but again, more than 40 grand, you can qualify for the long-term residence if you have a master's degree. If you own IP, it'll be interesting to see what exactly the specifications are for that. If you own a patent, for example, what if you just own a registered trademark? What if you have your own freelance business and you registered a trademark with the patent office? Will that work? We will see. Or if the company that you work for has received Series A funding from recognized institutions. That's another trend we're seeing, not so much in Asia, but in places like the UK or in Singapore, where they want the company that you're working for or investing in to have been vetted and approved by an incubator, for example. And so that's something that you're seeing here. So if you have 40 to 80,000 bucks in income, you have to work for the right kind of company, you have the right kind of degree to get in as the remote worker in Group 3. Group 4 is highly skilled workers, so again, you need $80,000 a year in income. Foreigners working for Thai government agencies are exempt, but you're not doing that. Work for a business in a targeted industry, higher education institution, research institution, specialized training institution, or Thai government agency, and then have 5 years of experience unless you have a PhD or higher in a targeted field, or if you work, again, you're not going to in a Thai government agency. And so for me, as an entrepreneur, I did not finish university. I certainly don't have a PhD. I certainly meet any of the income or investment requirements. I'd be happy to invest the money. But you can see that Thailand is kind of borrowing what some Western countries are doing and saying, all right, let's bring people in, not just on a little rinky-dink 1-year digital nomad visa. They're going to have stuff like that too. But we're going to bring people in for 10 years, but we want qualified, skilled people who bring their income, they spend their income, and they bring their skills. And so for a lot of people watching this, if you're a successful business person or a successful investor, you would rather just go and show, hey, here's my money, here's my bank statements, here's the income I make from my business, from dividends, from whatever, and here's your $500,000 investment. Or you'd scale it back and say, listen, I'll just go year to year and I will get the investment residence. And so how does that compare? One of the things that they're talking about here is some of the residence permits, and again, they're becoming Panama, where they're kind of like they're throwing so many different things up there, and they don't even always use the right terms. Like sometimes different people contradict each other, where they call it remote worker, then they call it digital nomad, but the digital nomad one is less, and the remote worker one is the 10-year. There is some talk about bringing folks in and applying taxes under these programs, and so. In my opinion, if you have to be taxed, you'd rather go in on a Thai you'd rather go in some other method than the employment. Structure the way that you earn money to where it's not in Thailand, and then follow the Thailand tax provisions to legally dramatically reduce or eliminate your tax burden. And so I'm not giving you tax advice. And again, anytime these programs roll out, we try and cover them early, but some of these things are still being hammered out. If I have to pay, one of the numbers was 17% in tax, I'd rather live in Portugal. Potentially I can structure my income in a way to reduce the tax into the single digits. If not, I'm not going to pay that much more than 17% on that income, depending on where it comes from. And at least I've got a chance to work towards a second passport. So Thailand's a lifestyle destination, and Thailand's a low tax destination. And so that works well for people who have jobs, people who have businesses, or people who are investors. And so you've got more investment options and more immigration options to come into the country. If you're planning on opening a bank account or making an investment or buying a home, this could be interesting. But the question is, do you want the 10-year plan? The previous options, such as, again, the investor visa, you got to go there once a year. And so this is opening it up where they're trying to say, all right, you don't have to come here once a year anymore. You're not working towards citizenship in Thailand, so that's not really an issue the way it might be in a Latin American country or a European country. And so if you want an option for your back pocket and you just really never want to go there, this could be interesting. We have folks that we're working with who they want to have a residence permit in each part of the world or a citizenship in each part of the world. They want Caribbean citizenship, they want a golden visa in Europe or some other way in Europe, and they want some kind of residence permit in Asia. With Malaysia's My Second Home now requiring a physical stay if you're going through the main route, then Thailand has become certainly more attractive to folks. And so, again, this could be interesting if you have the money to invest, but I certainly wouldn't be paying a bunch of tax to live in Thailand with no chance for citizenship. If you want to get tax residence in Thailand and you're willing to live there, this could be an interesting option. Again, if you're making the investment. But bringing in a job, seems like there may be some complications. I would focus more on investment in Thailand. That's, to me, what residence in Asia is about. I have wealth, let me show it to you, let me give you part of it, let me live here, leave me alone, give me a great tax deal. That's how I would use Thailand. But it's good to see more residence programs opening up.